Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about eyelash extensions and why they are and aren't worth it, some pros and cons, and some common misconceptions if they're true or not. And the reason I'm making this video is because I got my eyelashes done for like a year. The past year I did it. I was obsessed and I couldn't stop getting them, so I did that for like a year straight. And I just recently decided not to get them done anymore, so I'm going to talk about why I chose to not get them done. But yeah, my whole experience with them. I've been to 2 different lash techs in my area. I feel like that's like a decent representation. Like, I haven't been going to the same girl. I've been with 2 different people, and I've also gotten 2 different styles. I've gotten classics, which is 1 individual fake lash glued onto each of your natural eyelashes, and hybrids are a mix of 1 individual lash and multiple individual lashes, which is called a fan, glued to your eyelashes for a look between volume and a classic. So it's more oomph than a classic, and they were beautiful. Let me tell you, I missed them. They looked like strip lashes on my eye, and they were amazing. They weren't too much, they were just the right amount, and I missed them, but I stopped. And then there's also, I haven't done volume, but volume is fans on every single one of your eyelashes, no individual lashes anywhere, and I didn't get those done, but maybe one day. Let me just go on into the pros and cons, because I feel like that sums everything up. The pros were not enough to keep me after the cons, but they did keep me for a year. So the one thing about eyelash extensions is that they look amazing. They will give you a beautiful look that mascara literally never could, and they will give you the most amazing look even when you're not wearing makeup. Like, just having those eyelashes glued to your eyes will just make you have such a feminine look at all times, and I love that. It's really great, like, if you are like in a new relationship and you're living together and you don't want to go like no makeup, because like, I don't know, no makeup with eyelash extensions is like, it still looks really good. I don't know, I used to think it looked better than like me with like a full face of makeup with mascara on instead of fakes. I'd also say they're perfect for a vacation because they're like completely no maintenance, and then you'll look beautiful like when you're on the beach, and you won't even have to have any effort going into that. So I did wear them on one vacation and it was awesome. But a con, even though I'm not into the cons yet, is that it's very difficult to rub your eyes. So say you're at the beach and you're swimming in salt water, you can't come up and rub your eyes off like you can normally. So that kind of drew me away from swimming in the ocean when I had eyelash extensions, and kind of swimming in general, because it was harder to rub my eyes off. So that is kind of one of the reasons why I stopped. But still, if you're not a swimmer, they're perfect for you. Mwah. Like I said, they look better than mascara ever could. You have these beautiful, long, perfectly curled, fluttery eyelashes. Like, if you're like sitting there and you're like blinking, it looks like nothing else. It looks amazing. I still like, I just envy the people that can afford to get their lashes done all the time, because it just looks so good. So another thing, they're super low effort, but they're not no effort. So if you want them to last, you're gonna need to clean them pretty frequently, pretty much every night, with a little like solution or even like some baby shampoo and a little brush. You just brush them off and make sure that there's no dust or anything weighing them down, because if there's dust and like dirt on your eyelashes, makeup or whatever, it's going to weigh them down, and it's going to cause your natural lashes to fall out sooner, which will also in turn cause the fake lashes to fall out sooner, and we don't really want either of those to fall out. So definitely wash your lashes if you want any sort of retention. Another great thing about it is, at least the 2 lash techs that I went to, both small businesses, both mothers, and so one thing that is really awesome about it is that you get to meet a really amazing person that you probably wouldn't have otherwise, and build a relationship and have someone that like, they don't know anything about you, but you kind of like build a bond and you have things to talk about, and you start to know about their life, and like you almost become friends, and it's just kind of like relieving to go and sit in with them. And when you're doing this, if you're not going to like a big like whatever that like lash bar is in LA or whatever it's called, Blink Bar, whatever, you're supporting a small local business. Like, you're supporting someone else, a woman usually also. Like, the 2 lash techs that I went to were both mothers, and so by me supporting them and by me paying for this service, I was supporting other women and helping them make money doing what they love. And I really love that, and that was probably one of the things that helped me to justify the cost a little bit more. It was just like, I'm going and I'm helping her out, and I'm like, I'm a client, I'm a good client, I'm gonna come back consistently, I'm gonna be some source of like a steady income for her, because it's obviously like, unless you have a big clientele, it can be very unstable. And like, as we saw with the pandemic in my state, salons were no longer to operate, so unfortunately like my lash techs during this time didn't have a source of income. And so just by doing that, like, you just have to understand it's not like they're not getting paid the same amount of money weekly. So anything that you do really helps, and always make sure that you tip, because it's a service that's being done to you, and just a little bit extra to help them go. Like, I don't know, but that's a big pro for me, is just supporting someone who isn't Jeff Bezos' wealth. Another pro to lash extensions is that there's a common misconception that they actually damage your lashes and make them short, stumpy, thin. After I got mine off, after I let all of mine fall off naturally, I realized that they actually didn't. The first day that I put on mascara after having my eyelash extensions, they definitely did look shorter than they used to, but the reason that they looked that way was because A, I forgot to put on mascara, B, I didn't have the right mascara for my eyes, and yeah, so it just I didn't have my technique that I used to. But the second day that I put on mascara, it was back to normal and they looked amazing. The other thing is, like, even if you get them taken off and you think that they have damaged your lashes, natural lashes fall out and regrow. There's a whole regrowth cycle that happens pretty frequently. So if you think that they have been damaged, give it a month and they will be back to normal, because that's just how the natural growth cycle goes. But if they're applied correctly, they should not damage your natural lashes, and you should not notice a difference when you get them off. The last pro is that you never need to wear eye makeup, because you always look like you're always all there. Like, I wouldn't feel like I needed eyeliner unless I was growing them out and I was losing a lot. It really just always looks awesome. Like, you go to a party and you have beautiful snatched eyes by doing nothing. I never put on bottom mascara because I found that if I like blinked sometimes when it was wet, it would transfer onto the lashes and make them dirtier. But honestly, you don't even need it. Like, you really just don't need it. You won't miss it. And those are the pros. So now let's move on to the cons, because there are cons, and there are a lot of cons. But I definitely recommend anyone to try it, see if you like it, see if it's for you, especially if you have the money to. Con number one, and this is probably the con that influenced my decision most to stop, and that's that they cost a lot. Usually a full set is probably going to be around $100, give or take a little bit. If you're getting hybrids, or hybrids or volume, I really wouldn't expect them to be under $100, but if it's out there, then go for it. And so that's the first time you get a full set, and then you go back and you get a fill every 2 weeks. You want to go every 2 weeks, because if you don't, you're not going to have 40% of your lashes left, which I feel is the standard for the majority of lash techs. They're not going to want to waste all their time basically giving you a fill if you come in with no eyelashes left, and they don't really last that long. So if you wait 3 weeks, you're probably not going to be at 40% unless you're like cleaning and you're not touching your eyes at all. So I would pay $90 for my classic set, and I think $55 every 2 weeks for a fill, plus a tip for all of this. And then at my other lash tech, I paid $140 for a hybrid full set, and then $65 for a fill. But again, the cool thing about lash techs being like a small business, a lot of times they will run specials on full sets, and that's usually when I would try to go. I think I did go to my first girl when she had a special going on, and I got a hybrid set for like $100. And again, yes, you always want to tip. So if you add up how much this is a month, I usually tip 20%. So if I'm paying $65 and I'm tipping, so we'll just round it up to 80, that's $160 a month. And as a college student, I just don't really have that kind of money. Well, I do have that kind of money, but by me spending that kind of money on eyelashes, I'm not saving that money. The biggest reason for me stopping getting my lashes done was because me seeing this $160 that's leaving my account every month could be going into savings, and I could be saving $160 a month, because while I was getting them, I didn't really save any money because I just have a problem with saving money. But I just saw this as my opportunity that I would be able to save a set amount each month that I know I'm already capable of paying with my income, my current income. So that is why I stopped, in case you're wondering. But there's also a bunch of other cons that kind of like made me balance out, like, okay, maybe having the most beautiful eyelashes in the world just isn't worth paying all this money. Maybe I can just be a regular person and just use mascara and sometimes strip lashes. Like, I can do this. And I talked myself out of it and I stopped. Also very time extensive. So you're going every 2 weeks and you're laying down for an hour to an hour and a half to 2 hours. I get very restless during this time. I will fall asleep, and I probably fall asleep like every time, but after I wake up the first time, and first of all, it's kind of uncomfortable to be sleeping with somebody no matter how comfortable you are with them, but if it's like a silent or a quiet room and they're working on your face and you're like snoring and you're having falling dreams and you're like snorting in your sleep, I'm sorry, that's not cute. Every time I'd snort in my sleep, I'd wake myself up, and I know my lash tech doesn't care, but just for me, I don't really want to be like snorting in front of somebody else. But that's just me. After I'd wake up, I would always get so restless towards the end, and I would just be like itching to get up, itching to sit up, and like the thing is, you really never know when you're about to be done until they get the little dryer out. But really, like, sometimes your perception of time when you're getting your eyelashes done can just be so warped because it's just so long. You're just sitting there doing nothing, listening to music, and if you focus too much on the time, it'll go by really, I don't know. It was not a deal breaker for me, but it wasn't something that I that I really enjoyed. And sometimes I'd my friends would be hanging out and I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna go get my eyelashes done, and then I'd get out, I'd be super tired from laying down there, and I'd be like, sorry guys, I don't want to come, even though I have beautiful snatched lashes now. So with that being like an hour commitment, every 2 weeks is like an hour to an hour and a half of your time that you're going to someone else's house. So there's probably a driving time, or you're going to a I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry. You're going to someone else's house and you're probably driving there, you're going to the studio, you're doing whatever, but you're driving there, and then you're sitting there forever, you're having a little bit of chit chat at the beginning. It's a time commitment. So if you're a little pressed on time, it might not be the best option for you. If you have a hard time managing your time, it just takes a while. And with that 2 weeks, you really want to be going back at that 2 weeks. Like, my eyelashes were always really pretty and they lasted a while, but at the end of the 2 weeks, well, my classics didn't really last 2 weeks. At the end of the 2 weeks, when I was ready to go back for my fill, I had sparse eyelashes everywhere, and they just I was cleaning them and I was doing everything right, but it's just kind of natural that they'll fall out. And so sometimes I'd be looking at my eyelashes and I'd be like, well, the 8 I have are really long and beautiful, but it just looks weird. And sometimes they'd all fall out from the end, and you'd be stuck with some in the middle, and sometimes it would just distort the shape of your eye in a way that just wasn't the most flattering shape for your eye. I don't know. So that's why I went to the hybrids, because I figured that they would have better retention, because the fans on there would help them look fuller longer, and that was true. But sometimes, again, if I slept weird the night before, sometimes I'd wake up and my eyelashes would just not be all there. Again, you want to be careful with how you sleep. If you sleep face down in your pillow, you're not a good candidate for them. Even sleeping on your side, because the side that I sleep on, that eye would always fall out first. You want to try to sleep on your back. So if you're a rough sleeper and if you rub your eyes at all, you're really gonna have a harder time retaining your lashes. Even if you're scratching them, it's still moving your eyelid and it's still making them move. And I really missed rubbing my eyes, so when I finally got my eyelashes off after a year and I finally could rub my eyes again, it was an ethereal feeling. I was like, oh my god, I'm seeing the shapes, I'm seeing the you know, the little shapes you see when you rub your eyes, and it's the light tricks I don't know. I missed it, and it was nice to finally be back and be able to do that again. The last con, and I feel like this is a big one for a lot of people. I know I said that you don't need to wear eye makeup, but if you are wearing it, first of all, it's pretty difficult to apply without tugging your eye, rubbing on your eye, and removing it is even worse. Removing it is so difficult. What I did, I'd get some makeup remover, but you want to use an oil-free makeup remover, because a makeup remover with oil in it will remove the eyelashes from your eye. The oil will cause the glue that glues the eyelashes to the eye to break down, so you don't want to use that. So that already limits your options a little bit with what you can even use to remove it, and you just want to be so careful with it. It's just really hard, and it's just so much easier to just take whatever you take, like a cotton ball and like micellar water, whatever you use to, and just wipe it all off. I miss that so much too, and it's so nice to go back to do that. And again, just to rub your eyes in general. But this is coming from someone that had them for a year. If you're going for like, if you want to get them for a vacation or you want to try them out, obviously like you're not going to have the same like, oh my god, I miss rubbing my eyes like I did. It was a while that I had them. So I hope this video was helpful in kind of giving you some more like insider info about eyelash extensions that you wouldn't get from like your lash tech, because obviously she's gonna want you to buy them. I loved them and they were amazing, and they always looked so good. At first, like the first week, they just looked so good, and like it changed my face shape honestly, because like the way like you would, I don't know, they would just fan out and like elongate your eye. So it's really like a great kind of like catfish hack. It can make you look different. But at the end of the day, for me being in college and having one job and not being like filthy rich and not having my parents pay for everything, it's really difficult to afford that expense, and there are just better things that I should be doing with that money, like saving my money. And I'm sure one day I'll be back to the world of lashes. We'll be far advanced. We'll have eyelashes that never fall out. I would definitely recommend for you to try it if you have the disposable income lying around, but just like a forewarning, you will probably get hooked, and you will probably go for a year and then realize you probably lost like $2,400 that you could have saved. So that, yeah, just take from that what you will, but definitely go out and try them, have fun, live your best life, look amazing, have beautiful lashes at all hours of the day. Imagine waking up and looking pretty. I think that's what I like the most. Again, I hope this video was helpful for you guys. If you liked it, please make sure to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment down below if there's anything else that you want to see from me. If you have any other questions, like just reach out. I'll answer them to the best of my ability, or answer them like from my experience, what I think. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna say bye. This is Luna, by the way. I'm dog sitting for her, and she's the sweetest little puppy ever. She is the biggest like lap dog I've ever met in my life, and I think it's adorable. Thank you guys again for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.